Hi everyone, welcome to the Board Game Nexus. I'm Anthony.
Why'd you have that weird voice?
I don't know.
I'm Francis.
It just came out that
That's
way.
his update video
That's
voice.
my radio voice. So look, thanks for joining us. We haven't been giving updates in a while, and I think it's probably
Well, a
due.
while. It's been 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's an eternity.
Around here seems like it's been an eternity. I know for you guys, you're like, you just did an update video like not too long ago.
Yeah, well,
But
that is an eternity on the Board Game Nexus.
it is an eternity. It's been so busy.
It has been.
So
but, yeah.
So we wanted to provide you guys with just some updates, let you know where we're at,
Right.
address some feedback that we've been getting, talk about content and some other things, and some stuff coming up.
Yeah, and I think we need to sort of clear the air on some things because I mean that's the whole premise of the title of this video, and at least in the thumbnail, so you understand that there are there's people have opinions of what they think and what they say and and it comes across in the feedback, and we're like, well, why would you think that? And I think it's time we really just this is what's going on, right? This is why we're doing things. This is how we're doing things, and just clear the air.
Well, it's funny because I think why this is important is that especially myself, my head is buried in just getting the website running and getting all this stuff done. And I'm not involved in a lot of these conversations that are happening like out in the ether. So every now and then we'll get a little piece of like a feedback or something like that.
And our friends will send us updates.
Oh, so maybe people are still confused and they don't know exactly what's going on with this.
Right.
So hence the video.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's first on the agenda? Let's go down. The
So
list.
let's talk about the database first.
All right.
So we've got a database of about, at this moment, around 17,000.
Low 17,000.
Ish games. And we're adding some, we're deleting some, so it's kind of sticking around that. But when we initially launched the site, and for the past year, and we talked about this in our last video, I went through and got, we kind of worked through and got all these titles added. We used our users' submissions.
Yeah, keep
in
mind, and I think I want to be very clear on this.
Okay.
Like, you're like, how did you get your games? How did you get this list? Where did you get it? And we'll be straight up and blunt and say people just assume we took this from BGG. Like, straight up, we're going to say, and it's been mentioned on a number of occasions, and I think it's just lazy thought, and it's just what people assume, right? Without knowing anything behind it. But the truth is, people submitted their game collections to us early on when we put an outreach for it. People with over 1,000 games in their collection. Yeah. One person, right? So you get 100 people, you get 200 people to submit something like that with anywhere between 300 and 1,200 games in their collection. Your initial starting database is in the thousands.
Yeah.
Immediately. So there you go. You've already got a list. And remember, most of these guys are probably pulling their games off of BGG. So that list of games is coming, and expansions and promos and all that stuff is coming from BGG. So that's the list we started with initially.
Well, yeah.
Small piece.
Okay.
You want to correct me?
Well, I pulled the list.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, but you get that list, and then you've got Francis for a year going on to publisher websites and pulling down their lists of games.
Right, and going to distributors and going to other primary sources to pull down, maybe titles that we didn't have and things like that. So we ended up with this. We ended up with this kind of Franken database of titles, and some of those titles had player counts. Some of those titles had certain pieces of information. Some, like you said, did have descriptions from the publishers' websites. We had some user-submitted stuff. So it was like this kind of, again, sort of a Franken database.
Inconsistent. Right?
Inconsistent.
To say the least.
But it was good enough for us to get started.
As a foundation.
Which was what we intended. That was the intent from the beginning.
That was the intent. And it was 1,000% not... None of it taken from BGG, just so you understand.
Yes,
we want to make that 1,000% clear because people just love to be lazy and just say these things because it's easy to just assume.
Well,
right?
and I get the reason why I get a little bit snippy about it and I get frustrated is because you guys don't even understand. I would spend hours after work, after we were done doing whatever we were doing. You were playing online with your friends.
Yeah.
I'm going through until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, just working on this database. So when people are like, well, you just took everything from BGG, that would have been a lot easier, actually.
It's kind of...
That would have been so easy.
It's kind of offensive, right?
Do. It's extremely offensive.
It's like you doing the landscaping in your front yard and it's beautiful. Somebody comes, oh, you hired a landscaper. I'm like, no, it took me like 3 weeks of backbreaking labor to do this, and you're just going to discount all of it. So,
well, and when I think we had like at least 1 or 2 people just kind of like mention this, or it came up in a forum.
But if it's mentioned by one person, it's mentioned by more people.
Exactly.
Like, and it's on somebody's mind. So we wanted to just clear the air here and say that's not the case. Now, there are titles in the descriptions that have the words and phrases BGG. Golden Geek Award, BGG, users helped design this game. Those are right from the developers, designers' websites. So if you do come across a description that has those words in it, it's not because we took it from BGG. Just know that. It comes from the publishers' websites. So, and it could be identical to what's on BGG because that's what's from the publishers' websites. Again, like, so there's no, just rest assured, that's not what we did.
I think somebody had mentioned something, and I kind of like made the point, like if we had done that, we would be missing a lot less data.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to worry about anything.
And then the person was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense, right?
Yeah, so to just think logically for a minute, right? Yeah. We could have simply just pulled our entire database down from them, whether or not that's ethical or legal or whatever. Yeah. Why would we even enter that space, right? So to do it the right way, we independently went and pulled it from all the different sources we could think of, and created this list and created this database. So now what we've done is we've cleaned out a lot of the database descriptions. We're going to refresh the database now with data that from places we've from publisher sites, because there's publishers openly put their stuff out there, and this is just putting out their games. We're basically showing their products, as well as some other sources that have given us permission to pull data from them and other lists that we've been provided. So either way, we've got the data. It may not be complete when we're done initially,
but we'll know for each game where the data came from. And it's, nobody's questioning my work.
Right. And also remember, we've got publishers submitting to us directly through forms the descriptions and all the details about the games they want us to add to our database. And also, they could be pulling that description from BGG. So you can't tell me that a publisher pulling BGG data, giving it to me, when they initially supplied it to BGG is wrong.
We had somebody, it was funny, we had a publisher submit the form, and literally all they put was a link to the BGG page.
Go to BGG and take it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
That's not how that works.
So understand that when we're setting up new games in the database, we're going to take whatever the publishers give us because that's them. Whether or not they put that on another website, I don't really care. It's coming from the publisher, right? Or the designer, or whoever. So we're going to do that. Otherwise, if they don't, we're going to actually independently go to the publisher website and independently pull those. Like from the source, right? So that we're not taking it from any other site that you want to call a competitor or whatever, what have you. So just understand that's the source of our data. That is the root of our database. We're not going to talk about it much anymore because I don't think anything else needs to be said. If you have any questions or comments and you want to debate about it, we can do that. Happy to. But at the end of the day, just know with 100% certainty, none of that data is from BGG.
And then, so what we did do when we cleaned the database this last time is I put a description in the games that we did not have descriptions for. And it basically is like a little snippet that just says, if you want to help give us this information, you certainly can. And I know that I work in regulatory compliance, so my standard speech can seem a little legalese.
Right.
So that's not to scare you, but basically we just want you to let us know, like, I wrote this description, or I took it from somewhere and here's where I took it from. Again, just so that we can cover ourselves, because that way we're like, well, we told you guys to let us know where you're getting the information. So we're just trying to do our best to be on the up and up and be ethical about everything, regardless of, what might be the right answer here.
If you're going to submit data on a game, don't take it from other sites unless it's a publisher. That's
right. I mean, the same way that if you're writing a review, do not take it from somebody else's review.
Unless it's your review and you wrote it somewhere else and you want to take it and post it on ours. But it's your review. Your words are your words. So we don't want to take anything from any other websites unless it's a publisher. And that's it. It's really that simple.
Okay.
Really that simple. Cool. So I think that's data. So you understand that's where our source is. And going forward, all the new games are either manually input by us or through submission from a publisher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Or users. Some of you users do it. Yeah, so there's easy ways to tell us.
Yeah, we haven't gotten too many of those actually. There's been more like newer games.
Yes.
I think they need to be added, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
And games and database that need to be revised. That like descriptions added, pictures added, stuff like that.
Yeah. So other things that are happening with the database too, and chime in because this is really like you're taking the reins on this right now. Is we do have, and this again, like a lot of publishers make this available too, is like different versions of the same game. So you might have like the French version, the German version, the 1992 version, you know, and it makes it a little bit confusing because people don't really know which one to add. We've got some folks that like that level of detail, and other people that are like, you gave me the wrong game, or there's like not the right one in here, or there's too many of the same one in here.
Right.
So we are really leaning towards a more minimalist database, again, just so that you can have a glance at what you own. We are exploring ways to have you modify those on your own, like in notes or something like that. Maybe you can put your own version or you know, which copy you have or something like that. But that's just something that we're sort of working on. But do you have to know you have the French import version of a game, or or just the regular base version of the game? Like, is it really that big a deal? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let us know. So that's the kind of feedback that we're looking for. Is, you know, kind of what are folks' preferences? We've heard both sides, so we're gonna have to make a call, but we're kind of leaning towards that more minimalist.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want this database also to just, you know, blow up into some, you know, 50, 60,000 title database that has 12 versions of each game in all different languages, plus it has every promo card ever printed, plus every, you know, non-US or expansion that's in this language. Like, it's just, it's too much. Like, this doesn't need, like, base game, expansion.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. How much more down that rabbit hole you want to go?
Yeah, exactly. It can get, and again, it's very interesting because you have some folks that really are collectors, and they want to log every single promo that they have, and even if they're not available. But then at the other hand, we have people using the site who are not hobbyist gamers. They're coming here to explore new games. So if a promo card is coming up in, you know, like a recommended game or something, or they have to kind of sort through that, it makes it a little bit more clunky. So we're exploring ways to kind of meet in the middle with that. One of the things that has been suggested numerous times, and I do have a way to make it happen, but it's not a priority right now, but could be in the next couple months, is to actually delineate between expansions and base games.
Yes, we're working on that.
So we can do that. That way, when you're searching your collection or you're searching the main catalog, you can filter it down by just base games, or by, you know, you want to look for certain kinds of expansions. Putting expansions on the game pages themselves is very much a manual task for us. So we are in the process of doing that in certain games. Like if you go to Anachrony, for example, right now you will see all the expansions for Anachrony right there on the game page. Looks amazing. But there are certainly other games that need those expansions added.
We need to link.
And it's a lot of manual work. So, but we are working through this through the database to get that to happen. So.
It's just a 2-week-old baby, right? So give it some time. It'll mature, and the database will start to become more and more robust as time goes on. And be a much more powerful resource for you.
Well, and we want it to be intentional too. I think that's the biggest thing.
So it's not like we could just stick it all together and just say, there you go, and then and have it just be a ton of just useless stuff. But we want it intentional, we want it clean, neat, organized. Like that's what we're really going for. And we want it to be accessible to not just the hobbyists, but to the casual gamers who aren't in this space. And are new to this space, and they're like, all right, I don't really need to know about these really minutia, like these little promos about this game. I just want to know what game should I go play. Right. So this is why this is a lot of what's behind the whole website anyway. So that's why we're sticking to it.
Okay. So anything else on database?
No, I think that's a lot we talked about with data.
Cool. So let's talk about a couple of features. First, I want to talk about crowdfunding. So we've been doing, we did create like a crowdfunding landing page. If you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. The idea here is that you'll be able to see a bunch of crowdfunding like news. There's some like baked in ads on there, but that's what you want to see when you come to crowdfunding because you just want to know what's coming out. We have a video that, Anthony's been doing weekly that goes over everything that is coming to crowdfunding, so both Kickstarter and GameFound in the coming week. Everything that launched this week, and everything that is ending this coming week as well. So it gives you a couple of opportunities to see a game. And you should catch the same game at 3 times over the course of its...
In theory.
over the course of its campaign.
Some get canceled. They don't make it all the way through.
We have a couple of those this week.
Yeah.
So, so what we've been supplementing that with as well is including those games on the crowdfunding page so that you can listen, watch his video. You can come back to the crowdfunding page, or you can watch it right there and actually see the games that we're talking about right there in a nice grid and go click on them. You can add them to your want list.
Yep.
You can go to the game's Kickstarter or Game Found page so you can follow them. But again, the idea being that all of the information is right there in one spot for you. So I think that's all I want to say about that.
And I think just a call out to, if you're a publisher or
Yes.
you're someone who's interested in making sure that these get included in this weekly video, as well as on the game site, on the website, on this crowdfunding page, make sure those submissions come in so that we have the game information. Otherwise, it may get missed.
Every week, we have publishers that are like, "You missed my game," but it's because we're getting this information. Like, I'm going through every Thursday and just checking on what launched, what got canceled, like across both websites.
It's very
Kickstarter
manual.
is terrible to use, but like we're doing the work so that you don't have to at this point. Ideally, we'd like to get to a place, and we've already started to get there over the past 2.5 weeks, where as a publisher, you're just submitting all the information to us. I've developed a form. You can go on, submit all the information right there, upload your media kit, upload any images that you want included on the page, and then we get that up on a page as a coming soon game. It's featured on the website immediately. And then, most importantly, we get to add it to our list so that we can bring it out to folks that are watching. So
that's
don't
crowdfunding.
forget to do that.
Crowdfunding, very important.
All right. And then, what did you want to talk about? The creator thing in the game source?
Yeah. So these are all new features, right? By the way, so we're covering. So we've got this whole crowdfunding corner. The next project we've been working on, which she's really put together a nice new utility that we'd like to start basically collecting a database of content creators, right?
Yes.
And this is really the sole purpose of this is so that publishers have a place to come and, well, one, they can come and look at their game on Kickstarter on our crowdfunding page and make sure that their data's there. But then they can go and they can search for a content creator that maybe specializes in a certain aspect of what they want to show. Maybe they're a social media person, maybe they're a YouTube person, maybe they're whatever.
Maybe they specialize in wargaming.
Yeah, war games or solo play or whatever, right? So we want to make a database that actually provides all the information about that content creator, what they do, what they specialize in, gives you a little bit of information, so you can make so the publishers can actually, instead of going into a Facebook group and posting, "Hey, here's my game. Is anybody interested?" Not knowing who.
And like the same 5 hands always go up.
Yeah, the same 5 people
comments.
always raise their hand and say, "Yeah, send me a copy. I can't wait to get my hands on that." They can go in the web page and actually look for someone who actually fits what they're looking for, and then be able to reach out to them, directly. And instead of having to hope that they're getting 5 people that are going to do them quality work.
Yeah. So a couple things about this. Number one, it's functioning. It's up. Well, it's not up. I think we'll technically launch this next week. We're letting you know about it now. I would like for if you are a content creator, a content creator, and you're watching this, definitely go and fill out the form I have for that. I love forms. Because it'll collect all the information that I need in order to get you added very, very quick. Again, it shouldn't take long to get you up and running there. You can upload a couple of pictures. I think I've allowed you 3 logo, photo of yourself or whatever you want to put or don't want to put. Go ahead and send that over. The way that I've kind of designed it is that it is randomized. So it's not in any particular order. So when you go to the page to actually search for somebody, it's not, if you refresh the page, you'll get a whole different list of people.
Yeah, so there's no prioritization. There's no, nobody's getting special treatment here. It's just, here's the list.
Which was the idea, because there are a lot of new people that have come onto the scene, and we want to give everybody a fair shot.
Yeah, and there just needs to be a nice easily accessible database of this stuff that publishers can just go to, right?
I would say users too.
And users,
So, you know,
like who do you...
If I'm really getting into wargaming these days, maybe I'm looking for, a good wargaming channel to watch.
Point. That's a great point.
And so now as a user, I can also come on. None of the information, I believe, is going to be anything that content creators don't want to share. So, we're not collecting like, how much do you charge for this service, or what's your menu, or anything like that.
It's more about what you are and what you do.
Who are you and what you do, and links to your socials and YouTube and blogs and stuff like that.
Basic generic information. So, and a picture.
Hopefully that is something that's really helpful, because we've been excited about that since it was like churning in our brains.
And look, we're not going to go out and just start adding people, just we're just not going to do that, because we don't know. If you don't want to be on the website, don't be on the website. But if you want the exposure, you want your channel and your whatever you have, your Instagram out there, and you want to be part of this database, submit it, right? It doesn't cost you a dime.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. So none of this stuff, including like crowdfunding, we've had some publishers ask us like, what's the cost to be listed? No cost.
Zero cost.
Like this is like a win. All these things are like win for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's really to bring people together.
Why you wouldn't submit this stuff to me is beyond me. Because it's free and it's accessible and it's just being offered. Just do it. You just literally have to fill out a form and there's nothing to lose. So just submit it. It's like we said, we keep pressing that there is no cost here.
Yeah, no cost to submit anything, and also no cost to access this information.
So this is a free service, folks. Again, free.
You should put like a thing behind your head.
I should. We need to get a sign behind us that lights up. Free for free. So like, not charging for any of this. And we'll talk about charging fees later, and that's something completely different.
So the last feature that is coming up like next week is the game store/cafe search. So this is another thing I was really excited about, because every time I go to a different like city or town, I'm always like, I'm gonna look for a game store. And yes, you could like pull up Google and like look for a game cafe or something like that. But we want everything to be really centralized on the Nexus. You're there anyway.
It is a Nexus.
It is a Nexus. That's why we named it that way.
Yeah.
But what you will be able to do here is just punch in your zip code or your city or whatever. Pull up a list of game stores. We have a nice game store profile. So again, right now what I've done is I've taken actually a lot of data. I think we have like maybe 1,400 stores across the continent. No, not even continental US. I even have Hawaii and Alaska in there.
Okay.
So across the United States. I haven't branched out, but that's not for
we haven't
a lack
gone international
of wanting
yet.
to. It's just lack of time. So I did collect all of that, and that's been uploaded, so you'll see the information for the stores, but there's not like icons or pictures or any special information necessarily, operating hours, things like that. But if you are a game store or cafe and you either don't see yourself listed or you want to update your information and add some of that kind of thing, let me know. I have a form for that too. So that's also on our website.
Forms.
And what I would like to see in the future is for this to kind of be like, if you have a special going on or you have, something happening at your store, I can add that to your page. And it's just a matter of clicking the link when, I pull up the 5 stores closest to me.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, and they also have this event going on or something like that. So
those are the three main.
3 main for now.
3 main functions.
We've got a couple of things coming down the pike too. But those are the things that I'm looking at for the next week.
Yeah, so we're going to continue to add more functionality and more services to the website for free. And you're probably like this. It's just interesting when people, everybody has to come up with like some negative aspect of what you're doing, and there's always we already have a website that does these Kickstarter things, right? We already have a website that has all the content creators. There's already a website to go out and look for the game stores. Okay, well, we're one website where you get all 3 of those. Like that's our goal. You come to the Nexus, everything you want, board gaming is here.
Is there, yeah.
You don't have to go anywhere else. Like that's our goal, is to bring it all into one place and offer it for free.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't really know. Like,
yes.
What's their negative to say about that?
Right.
Not really sure.
Yeah.
So just want to put that out there.
Okay.
So that's it.
I think that's it for features that I wanted to talk about.
Next topic.
Feedback.
Yes.
A couple of the feedback points. I'll preface this by saying like 99% of the feedback that we've been getting has been 100% positive.
Super positive.
Super, super positive, which is great. sort of kind of expected that because I know a lot of people that are watching this video are probably fans of the channel and also therefore going to be fans of projects that we're doing. So that's great.
It's great for your ego and your confidence.
But it's not great for development.
Yes. Or just
and constructive criticism.
And constructive criticism, or just or being able to clarify through communication on things that people are misinterpreting.
Yeah, because we all know that like when people don't like something, they're not necessarily going to come to you. They're going to go talk about it like with somebody else.
They're going to go on social media and post about it in a negative way because they are making assumptions, which we've seen. And you know, hey, look, we've gotten feedback, and there are absolutely what I would label as other website loyalists. We'll call them, right? And they are like, why do you need another website? This other website does everything I want and it does it great. So you're going to fail. You have a failing business model, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like if that other website works for you, then have at it. We're not telling you to leave. We're not telling anybody to leave the other websites. We're just offering an additional resource on the internet that allows you to explore board gaming. So how that's a negative thing is beyond me, but there are people who are just vehemently like adamant about just.
They feel very. It's almost like they feel
it's a threat.
threatened.
It's a threat. It's weird.
Which is weird.
So weird.
Yeah, it is very weird, but
so weird.
It's a thing. So.
Yeah, like I always keep the analogy. If I had a McDonald's and I love going to that McDonald's all the time for the last 20 years, I hit that McDonald's on a corner, and they're going to open up a Burger King across the street.
Oh, can it be Chick-fil-A?
Or we'll say Chick-fil-A, whatever. I'm like, am I going to be that pissed off that this new store is coming because they're going to mess up my McDonald's?
Right.
Now I'm going to have to go eat at Chick-fil-A too. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue to eat at McDonald's. And Chick-fil-A is going to be like, go ahead and eat at McDonald's. I don't care. But you can come here too.
Right. Yeah.
You know, our food's just as good. Like either way, whatever you want to call it. Like it's just very weird that people are so territorial in this space and we don't want it. Like why would another website be a bad thing when it really would just ensure that the quality on both is continuing to be maintained at a certain level, right?
Yeah.
Because without competition, you get stagnation in the market, right? And that's a bad thing, folks. We are trying to expand the word of board games so that the community grows, the market grows, publishers continue to make money, right? So
because then your games become more bountiful.
Yes, and the more games, more money publishers make, the more games they're going to make, and it's just it's a cycle, right? It's just we're feeding the engine. So that was some of the feedback where it's like, you know, blah blah blah, don't want another website, blah blah blah, you're going to be terrible. We love our website.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So,
okay.
Well, hey.
Well, like 1,000 people disagree with you right now.
Yes, a lot of people disagree with you.
So yes, so that I think that was the kind of one take home was like.
That was one. So.
Yeah.
Look. All right, moving on. Let's talk about our fee structure.
Yes, let's.
So this was another topic that has been broached some more passionately from folks.
Only a few times.
Only a few times. I mean, there's like maybe less than a handful of people have complained about there being fees, and they were definitely more of those loyalists from another website that we talked about that for whatever reason feel threatened by our website and want to hate on the fact that there's a fee structure. And what we want to really break down once again, because we've been saying this over and over and over, is why we have a premium tier and why that charges money. And to really summarize without going into crazy lengths of detail, because I don't think we need to, we basically put in a premium tier that is no different from your free account other than being able to write reviews, basically write anything on the website.
Yeah, so comments blog articles, things like that.
Blog articles, reviews, ratings, and then having the opportunity to submit a game list and have us load it for you, right? So that is about
about it.
For the premium.
I think we baked in some other features, like I said, the game upload list and all that kind of thing. But primarily just because those are manual tasks that, you know, cause us to either whether we're having to do extra work moderating or we're having to do extra work helping get that game list over and uploaded for you, kind of white glove service.
Yep.
That's kind of what you're paying
That's
for,
what you're getting,
you could
right?
say. But the main crux of it was to really deter.
Yes. And
bad.
you know,
behavior.
The thing is, right, like you're more prone to write garbage in a website if there's no consequence to your actions.
No accountability.
No accountability, no consequences, nothing to lose. This goes for anything in this world. If somebody's able to just freely post something, i.e. Twitter, you get a lot of garbage and trolls.
Yeah.
It's just because it's easy, it's anonymous, and it's free. So write a bunch of garbage on our website, we ban your account, you create a new account with a new garbage email address, do it again. Rinse and repeat. You can do this 1,000 times. It'll never stop. Unless we ban your IP address, but then I'm sure there's ways around that too. At the end of the day, if you're determined enough, you could be a troll and get away with it. So, however, if every time you create an account where you want to write garbage, you have to pay $10, you're probably only going to do this a few times before it becomes,
fiscally
irresponsible or financially discouraging, right? Yeah. So this method works. It's proven. Yeah. Frances deals with that at her job, and it's successful. So we're just employing a tactic to do that. And that's the only reason we baked this fee in. Otherwise, we would have let everyone just post whatever they want. But you know where that leads. You've experienced it, you've seen it, and that's not what we want this site to be. So that's why we did it. Now, when we break down what the actual fee is for a premium account, it's $10 a year or 84 cents a month, somewhere in that range, right? So for less than a cup of coffee.
Sounds like for less than $1 a day.
Yeah, for less than $1 a month.
Yeah.
You get to do whatever you want on the website as far as posting reviews or comments or review, anything.
Rating games,
right? Ratings, the whole 9 yards. You get full access, right? And you get to support the website and say you're a supporter, right? We could have done this one of two ways. We could have done this premium approach, or we could have done an annual donation attempt and called for funding, right? So that you could support our website. Either way, it gets us to the same place, right? But this way, it actually creates accountability. It creates a safer space for you all, the users, every user, not just the premium ones, every user. And it prevents trolls from damaging the site. Some people want to call it a way of us gatekeeping people out and only having a certain group of people in.
We kind of are.
We are. We're gatekeeping trolls. It's effective and it's a good thing. So try, honestly, stop spinning it to be a negative thing. When your ignorance shows when you're biased, and when you're biased because you just don't want something to succeed, you tend to make up your own narratives. And we've seen this already. There's right off the bat, people were immediately had made up their minds about this website because it was a threat to their comfort zone, I guess, or their familiar place. So just, you know what, if you don't like it, move on. If you hear people talking about this, we're telling you straight up, this is how it is. Correct them. Point them our direction. Correct them. Point them to this video. We've got nothing to hide. This is where.
That's why we do these updates.
Yeah, and these updates are
clarify things.
It's to fight misinformation. You know how bad misinformation. If only we had a ministry of disinformation, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But you know how the world is. So there you go. That is the reason we have the fees, and that's the summary of it.
And just to be very, very clear, again, you can come to the website, organize your collection, sort your collection, add new games, learn about new games, use all of the features that we talked about completely for free. You don't have to. You do have to have an account, but you don't have to sign up, and be a premium member.
Creating an account does not cost money, so don't let people discourage you by them saying...
I think that's been kind of going around too, that you can't do that.
Yeah, so if they say you can't even create an account without paying, that's false. 100% lie. So if you see that, squash it. Because again, there's people who are going to spread this type of information who don't want to see another website succeed, which again is crazy to me because it's just another resource. Why not let or encourage your hobby to grow? Okay. Especially in a place that everything is going to be consolidated. You can get all of your information from right here. Yep. And still use other resources. That's what gets me.
I know, it gets you.
Yeah, it really gets under my skin. Okay. But in any case, that's it. So what's the next topic?
So we want to talk about content On the website.
Yep.
So right now, because this has been, again, little pieces of feedback here and there. We are on the website a lot because we have a lot of content that we are producing, and it is going on the website because we make content. That's what we do. But the idea is not for this to be like an extension of our YouTube channel, if that makes sense. So although it may seem that way right now, we do have a couple of other content partners that we've been posting their videos and things like that across the site in different places. You will see a lot more of that, and you're also going to see more of that on our channel too. Yes,
so the channel is going to be promoting other content outside of ours. It's not going to just be us. It'll be all of our normal content plus.
Yeah.
So you should see an increase of content production on our channel, which is a good thing.
Yeah, well, we've kind of curated a couple of different folks that do different things really well. And it's helped to provide some coverage in areas that we can't, or we don't have expertise.
Yeah, that we're just not good at.
That, we want it to be a place, again, where you can come and kind of get what you need, whatever that might be. And so you will start to see more of that. The other piece of content that we're hoping to be like kind of like the 90% of the website is user feedback, poll data that we'll share with all of you about what your game might look like, all that kind of thing. And then obviously the reviews and the ratings and things on games and whatnot. So over time, that's our hope.
Yeah.
But in terms of getting new stuff out to you from a content, kind of like pro content perspective, you'll see a lot of us. You'll see a lot of some other folks too.
Yeah. What we'd like to see is for you to create your own content, like your own written reviews.
Yeah.
And send them to us, and we'll post them on a blog.
And we started to get some questions about that.
Yeah, so we will happily showcase your written reviews or any written works that you want to do about a game. If you don't want it to just be part of the game page, we can put it in blog format. If you send it to us, and we'll promote it, we'll highlight it, we'll put it on the front page. Like, this is your opportunity in your space to have a voice, right? As a reviewer, like. Anybody can pick up a camera and start a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can pick up a pen and a piece of paper and be a written reviewer. Like, anybody can do that. So here's an avenue to take it down, right? If you want to actually employ some of this and see where it goes, it won't get lost in a mix of other posts down a rabbit hole where nobody sees it. It'll be front page posted on a blog where you'll get visibility. Like, this is what we want. We want to promote you, the user, as much as we want to do any of the other content going out here. Yours is just equally as important. And in most cases,
it's better.
Users are more informed because you've played these games more than we have. As reviewers, we don't get to play the same game 15 times before we write a review about it or do a video. We get to play it maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And then because we have to get ready to do the next game, and then the next game, and then the next game. So we know, like, friends of ours will play certain games 30, 40 times and be like, I know this game in and out. I was like, you're the one who should be doing a review on this then.
Yeah.
Not us. We can't even scratch the surface on the strategy in this thing.
Exactly. Right.
So in any case, we encourage that. Reach out to us. Email us. Happy to look at your work and get it up there.
Yeah.
So so that's for content, right?
Yes. And I think that pretty much sums up feedback.
Sums up our feedback. So.
At least feedback for the Nexus.
Right. And there'll be more. I'm sure, and keep it coming. We want the feedback. We want the, there's certain things we can fix, other things we can't. So we can't promise you everything, but we can certainly put it on a list for down the road.
Right, absolutely.
So one last thing before we close out here.
2 things.
Oh, yeah. What was your one thing?
Well, we want to talk about ads.
That's the one thing I was talking about.
Okay.
And our content. Yeah. That's important, but not super important. So the ads, basically, we have a bunch of dummy ads on the board. Like, we've got ads that have been provided to us that we've put up, and other ads that are just placeholders.
Yeah.
So what we encourage is, if you are a publisher or someone who knows a publisher or ready to start a Kickstarter campaign, send us your banner ads.
Well, send us an email to contact@theboardgamenexus.com, and I will send you the sizing for certain ad spots that we have kind of around the website. And what this does is it helps us kind of learn what this process should look like in a streamlined way. We're offering this at no charge right now because, again, this is kind of a learning process for us.
Yep.
And hopefully it's helpful for you too. So Yeah, like I said, there's really not much more to it than that. Just send us an email. And this will be like limited time only because we're in beta, and I'm sure there will be some competition for this space
at some point. Plus, we want to run our own ads too. Like, so we definitely want to promote your stuff, and now is the right time. It's free. Like we're giving away so much right now, and you're probably like, well, you should be giving it away. Why would you be charging? And the answer to that is because we're, even with what we're charging, even if you consider the $10 a year we're asking for premium accounts, we don't even come close to what other websites are charging for these services.
Yeah.
Not even remotely close. And it's all public. You can go find it. I encourage you to go look at what other websites are charging, and it will open your eyes. It's like looking into the sun. Trust me. You'll be like, what? Who's paying that? That's the question. So, but like we said, we're giving away this ad space where people are going to see it, right? Right, and it's free. So why would you not? So we encourage you, contact us, and we'll get you all the information you need, and we'll start posting. We'll put it up there immediately, and you'll get some exposure. But we'll run it as long as the beta runs.
And this is as of, what's today? April 29th.
29th,
so.
yeah.
So if you're watching this in like a month, and we're like, actually, we're not doing that
you'll
anymore.
email us, and we'll just tell you it's over, and we'll give you our rates if we're at that point, right? So in any case, we are we're open for it. Now is the time to strike, so don't hesitate. Get in touch with us.
Yes.
Finally, we'll talk about our content.
Yeah, really briefly, because this is something that, from a feedback standpoint, we've been getting a little bit of feedback about the fact that we're not doing the full playthrough anymore. So we have changed our format for longer format games. If the game's like 45 minutes, we play it straight through. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
But if it's a longer, like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Like if it's Ark Nova.
If it's like Ark Nova, exactly. And there's a lot of like samey stuff going on throughout the game. We're going to cut all that stuff out, and we're giving you like the first 30 minutes, we're giving you like the last 15-ish minutes so that you can see us ramp up to endgame scoring, you see us score it out, and then we can focus on a longer review. And the reason why we're doing this is because, not just because of editing. Anthony spends probably about an hour for every hour of filming time editing, actually, the video. But it's not just editing. And we've had people that are like, well, can you just release an uncut version of the... just keep the camera rolling. Like, we'll just watch. Like, and you can put it under a paywall or something.
Yeah, and like we've never wanted to do the Patreon thing to make people pay for our content, and it's like...
Well, and the thing is, it's like movies. Like, I was like, well, what do you guys think that, like, movies are all shot in one
they're all...
segment?
No,
they're not.
There's a cutting room here, and things don't make it off the cutting room floor.
They do. There's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor here.
And we're not doing... we don't want to put anything behind a paywall and force you all to have to... pay us basically to watch us. Maybe you'll catch us in our pajamas or something. We don't necessarily want to do that. Like that's cringe, man. That's totally cringe.
Well,
that's not us.
What this does, it's a kind of a quality of life thing for us. It lets us get through a lot more games. A lot of people aren't watching that middle of the video anyway. They're not sitting there for 2 hours. But with especially again with the baby coming, with us doing like the primers I'm doing take hours now to put together. You're only seeing like 3 minutes, but it takes probably a good 3 hours or so, to put those together at least. It allows us to do those things and allows us to get through a lot more games. Because if we had the camera rolling, you would see us stop the game, go get a snack, go eat dinner, go pick up our daughter from daycare, like come back, stand up at the table, do more stuff, leave again. Like the games aren't always filmed start to finish. Sometimes they are, and it just takes a while. But this way we're not stopping and cutting in between and explaining every move and that we're verbose. So
it's worked out for us. The new format allows us to do the content in a way that we can get it done according to our lifestyle right now. And it's not going to change for the time being. It could change months from now, but as it stands right now, this is the best format we've found to be able to replicate the production and stay on pace to get through our queue. As you know, we've been pumping out videos lately on a regular pace, and this has allowed us to do that. So it's either we do the full playthroughs and we do it at a much lower frequency,
right?
or we go to a higher frequency and we do the little cut. We actually called this segment first and last initially because it was the first and last 30 minutes typically, or 20 minutes of the gameplay, which we felt was the most telling on how to really understand right out of the gate and then coming up to the end. The middle is just middle. Most games, it's just doing samey stuff until you build up. And if there is
something important, we'll include
we do, and we've done that, where we would stop at a certain point in the game when things kind of shift and if there's a big development, and then we'll do that for like 15 minutes and then we'll cut to the end, right? So you're getting all the highlights of the game. You're just not sitting there for 2 hours watching us just play.
Right.
While some of you like that,
yeah,
it just doesn't work for us right now. It's unfortunate. And but maybe one day we'll come back to it or not. I don't know. But there we go. That's why we do it, and that's how it's going to stay for the time being. But
I think that's it. That's what we had.
That wraps it up. We will definitely continue to do these update videos to make sure that you're all informed. We're going to continue to repeat again and again and again all the samey things that we did about the Nexus, because we want to make sure that you all are so well versed in where we are from just our priorities and what our stance is on certain things, that when somebody in the community starts spouting off, their lies and mistruths and all that
misinformation.
Yeah, when they start spreading misinformation, you can step up and say, actually, you know what? You're wrong. Here's why. And if they say, oh, no, I don't believe that, then you just say, well, shut up, because you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about.
What? Or you could say, just go watch this video.
I would say, shut up, you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about. Because I'm just tired of it. Like, people are just, because people do it intentionally because they want to get a rise. And it's just gotten so out of hand lately that it's damaging.
Well, I wouldn't say it's been so bad.
You haven't been on social media as much as I have.
That's true. Yeah, I don't.
I've been watching it, and I'm just watching, and I could tell you, it's a cesspool.
I just stay to myself.
Yeah, like I like to stay away from social media, but I've been poking around, and I'm just looking at things people are doing and saying. It's like, it's just worse and worse and worse, and it's unreal. And I'm just glad that we don't. And this is always why we haven't been.
You meant not about us.
No,
okay.
Not at all about us. No, this is not. No, I'm just saying
like
in general.
Oh, in general.
No.
Well, obviously.
Nobody. Yeah. I haven't seen anything about us really, which is good.
Not yet.
Not yet. But just in general, I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Social media is a disaster, and it's just. I'm glad we don't really live in that space.
I can't.
But we have to engage in it, because that is where a lot of people are who are active, and it's like that's why we're trying to open this up to a broader audience than just who lives on Twitter, especially who lives on Twitter, because that's not where we want to live at all. Facebook is good. There's some groups in Facebook that we feel particularly comfortable in. Actually, one group in Facebook that we feel particularly comfortable in, and we're just. It's challenging because there's other ones that we just don't feel comfortable in, and it's unfortunate because there's so many rules baked on top of rules. There's definitely hypocrisy. There's definitely mistreatment of some people over others. We've seen it, and we don't call it out because what's the point? But it's just it's a shame. That's all I have to say. Is that?
Yeah. Well, that's also why we're trying to move things in kind of a different direction with a much broader group of folks. Focusing on board games, because that's what we love.
That's what we love, and that's where our focus stays, on the games. So there you go. There you have it. That's the update. Stay tuned. If you haven't done so yet, get over to the Nexus, sign up, free account.
Yes.
Tell your friends and family. Do the same.
Yes. Tell your friends.
Yeah, we just want you to all to join us on this ride. It's going to be a fun ride.
It's going to be a fun journey.
And you're going to just watch this thing grow. Remember, also keep in mind, you're like, oh, your website doesn't do much of this or it doesn't have any of this. And it's like, look, this thing is 2 weeks old, man.
It's a baby.
Yeah, so give it some time and it will become, in time, a robust place to come.
It looks much older than a baby.
Yeah, it's not just a baby. It's in its infancy. But if you really look at it, you can see the potential of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's just a one-stop shop for everything board games, and that's what we want. Outside of forums.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of those you can go to that don't need to be here.
Okay.
So there you go. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you.